Yay, we are live. So we will at 11:28 call the meeting to order. This is actually the 2020 annual meeting on April 18th of 2021. We are 4 months late. How did that happen? Carol, would you like to lead us?
Okay, so we will open the meeting with a prayer. So, dear Lord, just thank you for bringing us together. Just thank you for seeing us through this year. This past year has been very difficult. I thank you for all the dedication, for all the people, all of our members, all the people in the CLT, for Brandon being willing to lead us all, for giving us the wisdom, for giving us the fortitude to stay with everything. And just bless this meeting, bless this church as we move forward throughout the year. Just keep our minds and hearts open to what we need to do, and make sure that we're always willing to listen to your will and not our own. Amen.
Okay. Michael Post will read the minutes from 2019.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Good to see you guys. So these are the minutes from December 15th, 2019. Seems a long time ago. I had to double check to make sure I had the dates right. So the meeting was called to order and opened with prayer by CLT Chairman Margaret Post at 10:56 a.m. Staff updates. Michael Post has agreed to take on the role of secretary starting from February 2019 onward. Michael reads the minutes from the 2018 annual meeting to be amended. No further amendments, and the minutes are approved. West Valley update. Brandon Tunseth wants to focus on small groups in the 2020 year as he continues his role as temporary pastor through March. His plan for youth ministry is to open it up to anyone, Young Life, neighborhood kids, etc., and bring them to the church. Brandon continues by stating how important it will be to focus on prayer as the Pastoral Search Committee continues its duty of fulfilling the senior pastor position. The vision for the church should be to see how God is using each of us and to follow in that direction. Leadership positions. Carol Aguilar has agreed to a 2-year term as a leadership liaison. Michael Post has agreed to be the secretary. As these are the only 2 candidates for their positions, the ballots are unanimous. John Fenlison moves to accept the ballots, and the motion is passed. Treasurer's report. Brad Neal presented the financial report and the budget for 2020. Without a permanent senior pastor, we saw a higher profit margin. Brad commented on the biblical aspect of stewardship. The 2019 income was $141,399. The 2019 expense was $94,529. A motion was approved for the 2020 budget with no further discussion. The floor was open to questions or comments. And John Fenlison moved to adjourn. The motion was passed at 11:32 a.m.
So are there any amendments to the minutes from 2019? Because I know you all remember, right? Okay. If not, I would entertain a motion. And the motion is seconded, and all in favor to accept the minutes? Aye. Thank you. Motion is carried. All right. Not that short. Okay. I have to learn how to do this. It works. Oh, okay. All right. Brad, did I double click? No double clicking allowed. Oh, it's me. Okay. All right, so we're 4 months late. All right. Say again? Okay. See what I have to put up with. Okay. All right, so wow, it's been a long, strange year. And I was realizing that it was exactly a year ago that Jody and her group of lady volunteers assisted me with a project for Multicare, and I think that the final tally was something like 1,850 masks that we sewed for Multicare. It's crazy. And then I had to go into Good Sam a couple of months later, and they were handing our masks out at the door. So, that's weird. I wonder who sewed this one. It's just a strange moment. Anyway, I appreciated Brandon's message this morning about gratitude, because boy, do I have a lot of gratitude and thanks to give for people coming up and being so steadfast through this year. And I want to mention a few people, and because I know she's anxious about this, I'm going to skip down the line and mention Deborah. Deborah was a constant here on Wednesday night worship team practice. She sat about where she's sitting now, and she just sat and enjoyed the music. And I came to look forward to seeing Deborah there, knowing that she was supporting us and that she was also taking in an opportunity to glorify God through music. And I know it's been a lonely experience for a lot of people, but it meant so much to see Deborah sitting there. So thank you, Deborah, for putting up with our bad jokes and our crazy should-have-been outtake moments. Destroy those tapes. Okay. So I also want to thank Brad, who figured out with some assistant how to do this whole live streaming, because we were not set up to do this stuff in any way at all. So Brad has really gone above and beyond to figure this all out. And we know we still have some glitches, and there might be a little bit of feedback on the live stream end of things, but man, we are so much farther than we were when we first tried to start this whole business. So thank you, Brad. And thank you also for shepherding us through the financial ups and downs of the financial impact that not being able to be in person caused on our finances too. I want to thank Pat Smith and the worship team. And it's just, you've been awesome. Even your daughters at home, pitching in. That was awesome. And, I think that took a lot of patience, fortitude, creativity. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank Taylor. And the whole team, I wish Jeremy was here. It's been great to get to know him. What a great son you guys raised, right? Yeah. Talented family. All right. Owen and Jerry, they're not here, but boy, they were. I don't think you even understand how much it means to know that the person with the clicker is going to get through the words. If I don't want to wear my glasses because they fog up or whatever, I still have my mask on. Oh, Michael, you can't sit there. You have to move. Yeah. Jerry and Owen, I have to, no one's not here, so I can say this. How many people, with a show of hands, did not recognize Owen when you first saw him? The hair is great. Oh my gosh. And Jerry showing up Wednesday nights and helping out too. So appreciate that. Becca, Neil and Ruth, thank you. Even when the sanctuary was empty, it always was just amazing. It's just such an experience. I mean, really, it's simplistic excellence. And it's just made so much, I've had so many comments on the peacefulness of the sanctuary, and it just brings people to that place of worship. And I thank you, and I thank Ruth and Neil, who are at home. So that's it. Janelle, thank you for sticking to it and getting that Bible study going, and it's been awesome. You're such a blessing to everyone involved in the Bible study and to this church, and I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know that whenever something needed to be done, that you were one of the first people that say, I'll do it. Even though you had all this other stuff on your plate, you were still willing to step up if there was a need, and I thank you for that. Okay, I can't read because I don't have my glasses on. Jody, I'm picking on everybody. Jody, even though your women's group hasn't been meeting, you still send out messages of inspiration, and I know that as soon as you're able to get back together, the group will come together, and you guys will go forward and spread the word through your works. So thank you. And Pat Hogan is like, I kind of think of us as like Thelma and Louise. I'm not sure which one of us is which. If there's a cliff, let's stay away from it, okay? What I want, I thank you for being my good friend throughout this last year and keeping me grounded. But I also want to thank you for your work through the deacons, maintaining the prayer requests. I mean, it's huge when we aren't able to come together like we haven't been able to do, and people still have prayer needs. They still need to know that they have our prayer support, and it's been a rough year for people. So it's been huge, and thank you so much for doing that for us. The CLT, thanks for sticking this out with me. Thanks for being willing to think outside the box. Carol, thank you for even today being willing to just step in when there was a last-minute need and help us out there. Really, really appreciated. And you do awesome sewing on masks, too, by the way. Well, last but not least is Brandon. I don't think you really understood just how good you are at this. And you have been such a blessing to this church and to the community. And I don't know what we would have done without you this past year. And it's just a heartfelt thank you. Yeah. And I want to thank you for your steadfastness, not making us sign a contract that's month to month. And yeah, so we don't know when this is going to end. My insight from Multicare, I can tell you that COVID-19 is now the third leading cause of death globally, behind heart disease and cancers. And even though our numbers are down right now in the state of Washington, I was trying to figure this out. There are over 570,000 deaths. In the state of Washington, we're just a little over 5,000, which is 5,000 way too many. But we're 1%. Our numbers are low right now, but they're creeping back up. And I just want to share with you that we can't become complacent. Pierce County, where I live, they knocked us down. They've reduced numbers that can gather together, and I just don't want to see that happen. We've worked so hard to get to this point where we can come together like this. So please wash your hands, wear your masks when required, and maintain your distances. And if you're inclined, vaccinations are available. And if you are seeking a vaccination and you're having difficulty, let me know, and I'll see what I can do to help you. All right? I think that's it. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Brandon.
Yeah, that's all right. We're good. All right. Church update. Well, it's great to be back, and I think the way we're proceeding here is just being open to what God is doing and being willing to be usable. And I'm kind of doing this in my life and trying to see, and I appreciate the thanks and the spattering of applause. Honestly, if we are doing what God calls us to do and seeking Him in our decisions we make and where we serve and how we serve, things work. And to say I'm good at this is kind of made me laugh. I don't know if you heard that. It's like, man, each week I'm just praying, God, give me something. Because when things are like so crazy and busy around us, it feels like it's hard to block it out. And honestly, that every morning when I say, let's take this time to like take a breath and push stuff aside and give it over to God, that's what I'm doing. So I think this is an example of how we move forward as a church. Now, God has got stuff for us, and He has a plan. We don't know exactly what it is or what it looks like or who the pastor will be going forward. I told the CLT that I'd be here and I wouldn't leave us hanging. But I don't know what God's plan is for me, and I'm continuing to pray for that. But I'm a part of this church, and I'm happy to serve the best I can. And what that looks like, I don't know. Listening to the minutes from 2019 kind of made me chuckle because we didn't know what would be coming, talking about small groups and youth ministry, and those two things were kind of shut down for a little bit. So, we got a small group starting again, and youth ministry's trickling back. Young Life is shut down right now, and that's kind of where we had moved our youth ministry. We can be in prayer for the area director. He's been sick with COVID, and so not doing that great. So we keep lifting him up in prayer. The latest update was last Thursday, and he was feeling a little better. So we just keep praying that he would get through that. And then we see what Young Life's a big thing, right? So they live on a bigger level than a local community church, so they have to follow what the higher ups say. And right now, that's kind of how our youth ministry has been set up to work through Young Life. So we have little pockets, and I've heard from people. We have people that want to be here and want to attend, and I'm still active in stuff at Thomas Jefferson, so we still have connections to kids, and some of them have come back, and it was cool to see a former student come back last week, and we'll have some more, but things right now are just growing. I like the idea of, in Isaiah, putting all the bad stuff that's happened in the past aside and looking forward with great anticipation of what God has for us in the future. And I think if we trust His plan, if we look towards Him and are actively praying for what's next for each of us and praying for what's next for us as a church, things will sort out. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know the whole picture, the whole answer, and to give a church update, you guys know we're coming back, we're trying. We've got pieces that are coming together. We hopefully have some people that will be joining us in the process, because as we think of all the things that are happening, it's a lot of the people here, and there's more to happen. So we need some more people to join us. So hopefully you guys can all join me in this process of praying as individuals and as a church for what's next. And that's kind of what I see. I didn't have a great church update plan to give, but that's kind of where my heart is, what I've been seeing. And I think it's a great baseline of where we start as we build for what's next, what the church this year looks like, the end of 2021. That's, I think, where we need to go. And there'll probably be a search committee thing starting back up again. We took a pause on it. I know some of you have been curious about that. I told Margaret I'd be willing, through this COVID stuff, it was so much work to try to figure out, and candidates didn't want to travel, and candidates couldn't travel, and candidates took other jobs, and it became this drain. And there was so much that we had here that we needed to kind of figure out and get right and kind of reset, that I told, you can stop the search for a while. I'll be here when the other end of this stuff, when things start to straighten out, we can look at what that looks like. And who knows when a candidate shows up, whether it's when we're searching or not, and who knows who it'll be or what it looks like. But that's kind of that process of what our senior pastor situation might look like. So that's kind of where I'm at in that. I thought I'd share that with you guys. The plan was to stop it for a while because it just became too much work. And Janelle was the chair of our search committee, it just became a lot, and she was doing a lot by herself, and it was just really draining. So take a breath, set it aside. We'll give it to God for a while. We'll be prayerful in what happens and see what God, how He works, what He brings up, what that looks like, what a committee could look like in the future if we start it back up again. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. Okay. I don't know who I'm passing it to, but I'm ready to pass it. All right, Brad. Come on up.
So you got this piece of paper in front of you with all this hobbly gobbly numbers on there. Any questions? Yeah. What's that mean? What's that mean? All right, so I'm just going to go right into this. Front page, it's last year's income and expense. This is all condensed. It's just the major categories. So first thing is tithing and offering. Part of the income, you can see that was clearly off our budget. To be expected after we closed down the church. Cell towers are right on. Interest in investment income, I was surprised that actually we still came out better than budget, but a lot of the investment companies stopped paying dividends, and so I expected that to be lower, and it'll probably be lower this year too, because just as far as dividends, and that's just dividends and interest, that's not growth. That's there. Obviously no meal income. So our total income, really, our gross profit, $132,619. Where's the man that's writing that down? Oh, he's back there. Okay. Expenses, personnel, obviously we budgeted for a full senior pastor, and we don't have that yet. And everything else is pretty much right on. Boilerplate. Denominational is down because that's a percentage of income. Just like to point out, though, of course, we didn't spend the budget on most of these things because we weren't in session. So even though we worked as hard as we could, we didn't spend everything that we brought in. There was about a net gain of $21,657. Any questions on that? Turn it over. Yeah, there we go. So this is year to date this year. So everything's in the same order. Again, income is down. We budgeted the new budget. This is the new budget that you haven't approved yet. But we did reduce the amount of income we expected, and yet we're still not quite meeting that. The cell towers are right on. Interest, there you see it there, that we're down a little bit. Interest income, interest and dividends. So anyway, income year to date, $36,878. As far as our expenses are concerned, we've budgeted, you can see that second one, $5,200, we'll talk about that. Facility maintenance, we budgeted for new doors. That's why it's so high, we haven't gotten the new doors yet. So we haven't spent that, and other than that, it's pretty much right on. So far this year, we are a little over 10,000 to the good. Again, remember when you're talking about a day makes a difference. So we have these arbitrary dates, the end of the year, the 31st of December. Well, January 1st looks totally different because stuff you put in the books. So anyway, any questions on what we're doing this year so far? Good, because I don't have any answers. The next thing is called the balance sheet. That just tells you what we have. Our assets right now in capital reserve is about $740,000, and we got about 54 actually, 57 it says here in the cash, the checking account. So we got almost $800,000 in current assets, investments. liabilities. And then down at the bottom where it says equity, that's kind of how we have it all divided up. What are we doing with that? Almost $800,000. So you have how much we've set aside for capital improvement, how the general operating reserve is basically what we have left over. And then there's other designated funds, food pantry, Jubilee, and all those things. And so that's kind of how it's all divided up. You can look that over. So those are the financial reports. Okay, now, this budget may look a little different than what you have in your hand, just the format. You may not even be able to see it. So, on the, which would be your left column is what it was last year, and the right column is what we're proposing this year, right? So look at your sheet, you got it, but I don't know, I don't think anybody at home is going to be able to really pick that out. So whoever's at home, I can email it to you if you really care. Again, we have decreased the amount we expect in tithes and offerings by about 5%. Cell towers, boilerplate, interested in investment, we have decreased the amount we expect there also, the reasons stated. So expected income would be $134,486. The cell towers, by the way, that's what we're going to get. I mean, we already know that, right? Interested income. Hopefully we'll make more. Tithes and offerings, that's up to you. Personnel, we've only budgeted this year for the part-time interim pastor and worship leader. And also, by the way, Bruce is doing our lawn maintenance, our outside maintenance. He's looks pretty nice out there, doesn't it? So he's on the team too, and we thank him for that. And we have a new cleaner in Angelique Pollard, and you haven't met her. She's a sweetheart and loves the Lord, really loves the Lord. So she puts the little folds in the toilet paper, as you notice when you go in the bathroom. Cleans them up real nice. So she comes on Saturdays weekly. If you want to meet her, come on over. In facility maintenance, we put some money in there for new doors, both the door out here and the slider downstairs. They're getting really hard to open and mess with. The denominational, actually, that doesn't show it, but we've gone up a little bit, increased our percentage to I call it the hindquarters, right? We're congressional, so the church is at the top and the administrative offices are at the bottom. So I don't call them headquarters, I call them the hindquarters. And we send them some money every month to go to support national ministries, basically. We have Penny Crusade, which does, and Christmas in October, which does our international ministries. And this is called United Ministries, and it's what goes to support all of our national ministries. So probably get into that later. I'm going to skip over outreach for just a second. We still put some money in there for youth. Nurture stayed about the same. Worship stayed about the same. Utilities are what they are. Insurance, taxes. Taxes, you say, why do we pay taxes? That's actually all surface water management. Because we got blacktop out there and it doesn't soak in water, and so it runs off and we have to pay for the water. It runs out and goes down to the sewer district. Okay, so outreach. The CLT decided, we talked about this, and since we have no ministry going on, outreach going on whatsoever, and we got almost $800,000 in the bank, we just didn't figure that was good stewardship, just letting that sit there and do nothing with it. So we said, there's probably local ministries that we can support until we're ready to put our feet to the pavement. There are people out there doing lots of ministry, and there's no reason we should be sitting on all this money. And so I said, how about if we send 25%, I think that's honoring God at this point, 25% of our income, we just send towards outreach. And so the CLT studied that, and we said, well, yeah, we're not doing anything. And if we do decide to do an outreach, it would come out of this 25%. But that's where that $34,000 comes out of. If you look at our total income, 25% is $34,020. And so we're going to set up a committee, and I think Carol's going to head it up. Is that right? Did we decide that? I thought we had decided that, but we're gonna set up a committee, we'll have a chairman and probably a max of 4, maybe 3 or 4 people. And they're going to study the community, local community we're talking about here. This is not national ministries, we want local community ministries, whether it's Young Life or Food Bank or whatever's locally, 5 or 6 or 7 local ministries that we will fund. And we will spend this $34,000. This isn't contingency fund, we're gonna spend this. And whether we do it quarterly or whether we do it semi-annually, I think quarterly is probably about best, and we'll send out some money to these local agencies. So if you have, assuming you approve this is part of the budget. And by the way, I will push to increase this percentage because I think it honors God, and I think God will honor that. And so I would like to see us, before I die, long life, get up to 50% of our income. And, you know, if we grow, that'll even be better. So, where did I leave off? We will identify these particular groups anyway and send money to them. And that's the budget. And that's the proposal. Did I miss anything? Any questions? Okay, well then I will move that we approve the budget as presented. Yeah, I know, but you're in charge. Yeah, you want me to say all in favor? I can relay. She says for me to say all in favor. Oh, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any other questions on finances, live streaming? All right. I'm done. Cool.
Okay, so next up is the election of officers. And just to let you know, you will have time to text Pat for your votes. I think it's still up there, yes. So 253-670-0746. She's standing by, phone in hand, ready to go. So what we have is 2 positions open, so treasurer. The incumbent is Brad Neal. Do we have any other nominations from the floor for treasurer? Okay, I hear none. If you do, you can text those to Pat as well. We will leave this portion open for 15 minutes to give people time to text her. The second position is chairperson, which the incumbent is Margaret Post. So any other nominations from the floor in here, or if you have any that you would like to text to Pat, please do so. But any from the floor in the sanctuary? I hear none so far. So both of the incumbent officers are amenable to continue in service. Nominations from the floor may be made for either position, and we heard none. Nominees must have provided permission for us to nominate them prior, so it's not like, surprise, your name's up there. Alternatively, a motion for unanimous consent may be entertained. Voting is limited to members only. As mentioned, we'll have 15 minutes so that Pat will have time to count everything. Margaret, do we want to wait for 15 minutes and then come back and do a vote, or how do we want to do that so we can capture everything that's being texted as well? Okay, so we still have 10 minutes. I don't know if we said we'd have 15 minutes, so I think we need to honor that. And we can revisit in like 10 minutes, if that works, for the final vote. Okay. All right, so that's it for right now. We'll revisit this again in 10 minutes, and we will do a vote from the floor, and Pat will relay any votes that were received by text. So up next is other business.
So other business basically is your opportunity to ask any questions or throw stuff out at me. Have at it. Oh man, this is gonna be a long 10 minutes. Any other updates? No? Okay. I do not have a stand-up routine. Sure. Would you stand, please? I'm not sure everyone heard that. Okay. Do I have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Motion? Carried. Okay. All right. So I would entertain a second, another motion for adjournment, unless there are more burning questions. Thank you for that burning question, John. Do I have a second? We are adjourned. Thank you. Oh, boy. John, you can't escape just yet. You can't escape just yet. Thank you, Michael, for coming all the way from Everett.